Jared, if you don't mind getting started a couple minutes early, we'll go ahead. Pass
I've
it to
got
you.
no problem at all. And don't worry, I continue to call us Naptown as well, even though we just rebranded on May 31st of this year. So for those who don't know myself, my name's Jared Beisco. I'm one of the co-owners of Myriad Health and Fitness, originally CrossFit Naptown, then changed to Naptown Fitness. We occupy a few spaces downtown Indianapolis at 922 North Capitol, 914 and 916 North Capitol. So we have a CrossFit space, a boot camp space, and a yoga space. And we previously also had a location at 5255 Winthrop in South Broad Ripple next to Speakeasy and Leader House. Unfortunately, we shut that location down during COVID last year, just through basic numbers, and just wasn't economically working for us any longer in that space, but also had the intent of finding this building and this space, 3902, to transfer our Monon location into 3902. However, as I just learned from the previous presentation and what I've learned over the last 2+ years is commercial construction takes a lot longer than you than what you actually think it's going to take. And this won't take 7 years, but it's definitely taken longer than we expected to get this project up and running. So myself, as well as Michael Boaz of Boaz Construction, are the partners on this project moving forward. Previously, my business partner with Myriad Health and Fitness, Peter Brosman, was also a part of that. He's since family has moved to Birmingham, Alabama, so it's now Michael and myself. Boaz Construction is the construction group that's going to be working on this building. So we're excited to have them, and they do a lot of great work for the Patashu group, Martha Hoover's group, and many other restaurants they've done in the past, Garden Table and quite a few others locally here in the city. With this building, it has been an amazing opportunity to bring some liveliness to the space, to the building across the street from Tarkington Park. And we're really, really excited. The initial intent was to originally get the building, slap rubber down on the floor, and open up and run a gym. And then after we sat back for a month or two, we realized there was way too much opportunity for this space, for the parking lot, for the park as a whole. So it's been important for us to kind of take a step back, which is why this has taken much longer than we ever expected to get the building up and running. So just looking through a couple of my notes here. The condition of the building, as Michael McKillop knows, has been a little bit of a struggle for us as well, kind of bringing that up to par. There had been some asbestos issues in the building, some underground storage tanks. So it took us a little bit of a while to get that up and running, but we are 100% cleared, ready to rock and roll from that perspective. And as you've probably seen as of late, we have some traction on the building, working on the facade. Just recently took the windows out, which we're really excited to do that. We are actually working with LISC to get a facade grant that's going to be helping us pay for a portion of that storefront. And then also working on some from the car being crashed into the facade a year and a half ago, I think at this point, that we're working on getting fixed as well. So that is another adventure throughout this whole process. Tom, if you want to click through, I don't know, Michael, I didn't get to see. Perfect, cool, you got him in there. Awesome, so this is the fun part. So the building has gone through many different iterations. Originally, the whole concept of the building was to unlock the basement. So many people don't realize this building is 8,600 square feet on the main floor, but it's 9,000 square feet in the basement. So it's been a huge challenge for us to figure out, almost like a puzzle here, to figure out how do we get into the basement? How do we make it ADA accessible? How do we make it safe? How do we make it feel like it's not a basement? And we're actually using a terminology of lower level rather than calling it a basement, and trying to get as much natural light down into that basement as we possibly can. So that's been the whole goal for us, to make this space more inviting for the community as a whole. We've been working with 110 Studios, architectural group. They're located downtown Indianapolis, and they've done a phenomenal job working with us here. So as you can see with the building, there's this is the main floor. It's split up into two main pieces here. That front piece On the east side there where the facade is going to be a coffee tenant. We don't have a lease signed yet at this moment, but we've been working with a local provider that we're really excited about, hopefully introducing here shortly once we get a lease executed, and then we can share that with everyone. But there is going to be, we are targeting a coffee tenant for that space, which is going to allow more activation on the front end with that storefront right there. And you can actually see that sidewalk will also be a patio out there on the east side as well. And there'll be some greenery towards the street that kind of be between a sidewalk as well as the patio in that position. And then going, yep, perfect. I love it. I love we're working together here on this, and you're doing the showcase showroom. I like it. So as you're at the top here from the north end, this is going to be one of the main entrances for the coffee shop. So there's a little vestibule up there in the north east part of the building, and then people can walk down through that space right there to go into the coffee shop. You'll notice there is a garage door on the north end as well that you could go into, that's just west of that main vestibule. That's going to be for Myriad Health and Fitness. So we are going to be a main tenant of the building, which is exciting for us. And we're going to have that main space, the lower level space entirely, which we'll flip to that here in a little bit, for Myriad Health and Fitness. And this is going to be a garage door to allow our members to come in and out through the basement. And then yep, right over there. Oh, actually on the other side. Sorry, that's going to be, that garage door is going to be on the north side. And then clicking back, there we go. And then the main entrance for the building as a whole is going to be on the northwest side of the building. And there's going to be a wood, yep, right over there. Perfect. That's going to be the main entrance. So we're still looking for a tenant for that big space. It's about 4,200 square feet on the main floor. So if anyone knows of people or have interest, we've had a couple different prospects that have been interested, a marketing firm as well as a restaurant. Nothing that's been solidified yet, but that's something we're working on figuring out as well. So those big doors on the top on the north can be garage doors or potentially windows as well. But right now we have slated for garage doors for a potential tenant. But the main entrance for the building, for this part of the building, would be coming up through that northwest spot, and you can come through, and there's going to be a lobby vestibule right there that's going to then take you into a little bit of a community space where there's going to be gender neutral bathrooms. And then from there, that's going to also be the main entrance for Myriad Health and Fitness, that northwest space, so that people would exactly walk down towards that entrance there where the stairs will take you down, and that's where the elevator will be too. So this is a unique component to the building as a whole. There was a service elevator that's been there since day one. The building originally started off as the Heiser Ford building back in the 1940s, early 50s. And this freight elevator would take cars up from the basement all the way up to the rooftop. And we wanted to make sure we kept that chamber, we kept that as best we could. And so there's going to be a storefront window here on the main floor that's going to allow light to go into the lower level. And that also is going to have just a kind of elevator shaft feel to it, with the stairs that are going to be adjacent to it. That's going to be able to take you to the lower level as well as the main level, as well as to the rooftop. The rooftop has been a massive talking point for us. It's in a future phase of ours to activate the rooftop. At this moment in time, we're unable to, just from a cost perspective. Structurally, the building would not allow live load versus dead load, which is something that we're working on, potentially doing research and figuring out a pedestal system in the future to allow for rooftop access activation, potentially doing community garden, yoga at the top, having it for event space in the future as well. So a lot of ideas up there for future phases for what the rooftop can provide. Trying to think of some other, Michael, are there other points on this main floor you want me to hit or talk about?
Well, you can't underestimate the amount of glass and the cost process around replacing this original storefront system. The original glass panels were 8 or 9 feet wide and about 12 feet tall. And I think this team has worked long and hard to sort of figure out how to get the closest to that original storefront restoration as they possibly could, and I applaud them for that. This is not an easy building. We've owned it since 2017, and are excited to partner with Peter or with Jared and Michael with Myriad Health and Fitness and Boaz to see it repurposed and to see some new business entrepreneurs in the community. And I think there's an exciting future here.
Yeah, and good point there. A couple of things I wanted to hit on from what you said. That main space right there, that 4,200 square feet, perfect world. We have one tenant who moves in there, but we could make that divisible by 2, by 3, by 4. So if talking about activating community, getting community partners involved, the biggest thing for us is just making sure, from a rent perspective, we can make sure it supports the building financially, and if so, and it's a community partner that we could work with, we're open to a lot of different opportunities for potential tenants there, which we're excited about. And one other thing you mentioned, Michael, that I wanted to mention was we had, I know in IBJ it talked about the historical distinction of the building. We have moved past going through the formal historical distinction of the building. Just at the end of the day, economically didn't make sense for us. It was going to cost more for us to go, way more than we ever expected when we finally got back the final numbers. So we are no longer going to be a historically designated building. However, we are bringing it back to as close to historical distinction from the 1946 and 1952. The two numbers always resonate with me. So we are going to be going back to as close to that time frame as we possibly can, as Michael said, with the windows and garage doors and such as well.
Well, and I don't remember if it's in here, but there's a site plan. If you notice the sea of asphalt that is in place now, the site, the tree buffers, the green lawns, the breaking up of the asphalt, the improved drainage are all things that I think this parking lot has needed for many years, and happy to see that that's going to come to fruition as part of this project, along with potentially some new sidewalks along Illinois and along 39th Street.
Yeah, and I would say this is probably the part that excites me the most about the building, is especially with Tarkanian Park right there, with all the kids, the families, having Tease Me, a community cafe right across the street. There's just so much visibility to the space with Illinois being a main thoroughfare, and having this parking lot redone, having some safety measures put in place with lighting systems and security camera systems is something we're really excited about. As you can see, this drawing it's a little hard to see, but you can see the patio here on the west side of the building. You can see where there's going to be plenty of concrete. I think we go 12 to 15 feet north of the building of just concrete, which is going to be really exciting too, to potentially host farmers markets, or host outdoor vendors, or to host other potential tenants who may have space that could go to the outdoors a little bit. So it's really exciting to have more activation just within that space as well. And then the parking lot itself is still going to host, I think originally had about 55 to 60 parking spots. We're going down to 43 to 45, but it's going to be a much better flow. Going to be, as you mentioned, Michael, busting up all that asphalt and redoing the parking lot as well, which is going to just make that space look much more attractive, which we're excited about. And then if you can click through.
Should have the floor plans not in there. You already did the floor plans.
Yeah, I was going to go through as the basement. It's no worries. If the lower level, the floor plan there would take you directly into, so you can go through the main entrance at the northwest side, or our membership, as they're doing a workout, can run up this. There's a cascaded stairwell, which we're really excited about. That's going to allow our members to come from the lower level all the way up to the main floor and be able to do running workouts, and again, being activated outside, doing warm-ups outside. In the basement, there will be locker rooms for our members. There will be a yoga space as well. So we're going to have a separate yoga room that has about, I think, 800 square feet of space. And that's going to be down there as well. And then there's going to be a small little members lounge down right underneath the stairwell in the lower level too, that we're really excited about having there. So the goal with this space, to kind of wrap that up, is just having that coffee tenant is going to allow us to create a lot of community activation, just having a lot of people at that building across the street from the park. And then we're having that 4,200 square foot tenant, or multiple tenants in that space on the main floor, and then having Myriad Health and Fitness take up the entire lower level is the solid game plan moving forward, which we're really excited about. You're on mute. There you
Do we
go.
have any questions from anybody about the project, the design? I see a few more folks coming in, Damon and Mark.
I could also say that, as I mentioned, we're working on the storefront right now and looking to have full construction, everything rock and rolling here in October 2021. And then just for expectations of the community as a whole, we are working on fencing in the entire parking lot as well as the building just for safety precautions, as well as to make sure no one's getting hurt in a construction zone site, and as well as dumpsters that are going to be in and out, and all the typical construction pieces that are, I think we're all going to see around Tarkanian Park in the next couple of months and moving forward in 2022. So just an FYI to all that.
Well, and when do you anticipate that construction wrapping up? And am I correct in it's still in an approximate about a $2 million investment and project for Myriad?
Correct. And that's actually a good point, Michael, I meant to bring up was one thing we are seeking, especially with doing a lot of that civil work, is going to be on the south side of the building as well as the west side of the building. We are going to be redoing the sidewalks by the parking lot, and putting a lot of investment and value back into the city through that. So we are going to be working with Councilman John Barth as well as Michael and his team at Midtown to see if there's any TIF money or tax abatement of any sort of where we can work together to bridge a little bit of that gap, because this has definitely been, to Michael's point earlier, a little bit more of a project. The building's a little bit harder to work with than we expected. So that the costs have definitely gone up, as well as we all know, cost in general of construction has gone up too. So yeah, so that's something we're seeking here and working on building out in a more formal way. And then go ahead.
You said you were starting in around October, and should be able to wrap up about when?
We're shooting for April, May 2022 of businesses actually being up and operable, tenants, taking money and having the space ready to rock and roll.
Well, that is awesome, Jared. Any questions for Jared or about the project or about the available space? Nope. Well, we're moving right along tonight, Jared. We are recording this and we'll publish it on our Facebook and on our website, along with the full set of plans that you'd sent us previously.